guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to take proper, accurate circumference measurements. When it comes to fat loss, it's really important that we're taking correct measurements in the same conditions every time. This is a common mistake that I see people make, is taking their measurements at different times in the day when it's time to take their measurements, and this can throw off your numbers quite a bit. So I'm going to go over how to accurately do this, and I also should note that you will need a tape measure for this, preferably one that measures in inches. And there's one on Amazon that I really love. It's called the Tape, and I won't be using that one today, but it's really nice because you can actually find the measurement first, and then it locks into place so that you don't lose that measurement, and then you can draw it back or retract it in order to take that accurate waist circumference measurement without you having to like pull it tighter and get like a smaller reading sometimes. So without further ado, here we go. So you'll need that tape measure. It's best when you're taking each measurement that you wear minimal clothing, okay? And the conditions that we want to be taking our measurements in usually is best when we are first waking up in the morning, after we've used the bathroom, before we've eaten or drinking anything at all. And we should really be consistent with this time of day that we do this. If we take it once in the morning and then next time we take it in the evening, we're gonna get two completely different readings because our bellies will be fuller by the end of the day with all of the food and water we've consumed. Sometimes if you like work out first, your muscles are a little more inflamed, so therefore you're not gonna get an accurate reading compared to the first time you measured. So the one thing I really wanna drive here and nail into your head is that it needs to be consistent every single time in order for you to get an accurate reading. So there are usually about like 5 sites that I have my clients take. Okay, just 5. It's not really necessary to be doing like all the other crazy ones like the calf and the wrist and the neck and all that. So I'm just going to show you 5 important ones that are good for you to take today. So the first one we're going to do, make sure it's on inches, okay, and make sure you're starting at the silver point or the end of the tape measure, because that's where the 0 starts. And so what you're going to do is for your chest, you'll bring this right along the middle of your chest, okay, so the widest part of your chest. So especially if you have a bigger chest, it's important to take it at the widest point, usually right across the nipple line. And don't pull too tight. I'm about a 34.5 there. Make sure you write these down as you go so you don't forget. So that's how I'll take that one. That was pretty straightforward. It's probably best that you do this again in minimal clothing. If you can do without clothing at all, that's even better. You're gonna get a more accurate reading. But anyways, let's move on to waist. So for the waist, this one is really tricky, you guys. So a lot of people take it in different parts because they're not really understanding where the waistline begins. And so for me, I have a narrow waistline right around here. You're going to take it around that narrowest part of your waist. Now, I know this is easy for me to see. Some people don't have this narrowing of the waist. So on you, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, the best way to go about doing this is by checking to see if you have a narrowing of the waist, and if not, then you know that your belly button is going to be where you want to measure every time. That's your reference point, and that will give you the most accurate reading each and every time you do this on the waist. So we're going to bring it around here. I'm going to do it at the narrowest part here, so right about there. And I will not pull super tight, but there, right about there. So Again, if you don't have that narrowing of the waist, just take it across the belly button and stick to that every single time, okay? So draw a line right here across your navel, and that'll give you the accurate reading that you're looking for. As for hips, again, for the purpose of this video, I'm wearing shorts, but it's best that you guys do this with minimal clothing or none at all if you can. So for the hips, I'm going to step back a little so you can see, but you're going to take this at the widest part of your hip. And again, we want to make sure we're doing this in the same conditions, same position every time. So when you first take your measurements, it's important to note how wide were my feet. If you start with your feet closer together and then like your second and third measurements, you're like this, you're going to have a way different reading. So I like to say stand with your feet about hip width distance, or like directly under your feet, your feet directly under your hips. And then you can see me from the side. I have a little bit of a protrusion down here. So right about there is where I have a little bit of a badonkadonk. So I'm going to take my measurement there. Okay, feet are hip width. I'm taking a mental note of that, and make sure that next time you measure it in the same exact place. Okay, so right across the widest part of that hip. All right, moving on to the thigh. The thigh is a good one because us ladies, we have some meat here. So typically when we're losing weight, we see it here in the upper meaty part of the thigh. And so what I'm gonna do is look at my thigh and pretty much determine, all right, this is where I have the most meat on me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that measurement right there. Again, you wanna be relaxed, okay? So I always like to say, like, prop your toe or prop your heel up a little bit so that you don't have much weight on this leg, and take it that way each and every time. So I'm gonna go with the widest part of my thigh up here, the chunk, and boom. Cool. Now let's move on to the arm. So if you're right-handed, you're gonna wanna take the left side here because it's easier for you to take this measurement. But same thing here, arm out to the side, take it at like the thickest part. So like if you have muscle here, you'll want to put it around that part of the bicep. So whatever part's sticking out, I usually like to say like the middle-ish of the arm or the belly of the bicep that sticks out there. Don't flex or anything, just kind of relax and take that measurement. Again, make sure you are taking it in the same place each time, and that'll give you your measurement. So those are the 5 that I would do: chest, waist, hip, thigh, and bicep. So make sure you are taking those in the same conditions each time you take these measurements. I recommend doing them every 2 weeks if you are somebody who's really trying to lose fat. And don't rely so much on the scale, rely more on these measurements and your photos as a way to gauge your progress. So yeah, I hope this video is helpful for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck with your measurements.